Every day, billions of us navigate digital platforms that precisely anticipate our desires. Yet these systems possess zero capacity for actual comprehension. We are intimately governed by machines that do not understand a single word we say. To see the anomaly of this arrangement, we have to establish how social power operated before the Internet. In classical psychoanalytic theory, Jacques Lacan described human subjectivity as being structured by what he called the symbolic order. Under the symbolic order, identity, desire, and social authority are forged exclusively through explicit language, laws, and physical institutions. This framework relies on signifiers and narratives to organize our relationship to others. Power, in this classical model, is legible. It operates through representations that we can read, interpret, and debate. Because of this architecture, traditional societal structuring required semantic comprehension. For a law, a social norm, or a leader to effectively govern you, you first had to actively understand the meaning of their commands. The migration of our social infrastructure from physical institutions to digital platforms eliminated that requirement. We are regulated by a completely different layer of infrastructure. Digital theorist Antonio Neto calls this new layer the Sub-symbolic Order. It is a regime of mediation that operates entirely beneath the threshold of explicit linguistic representation. Unlike the symbolic order, algorithms don't interpret semantic meaning. They don't care what your messages say or what your photos represent. Instead, this matrix functions as a statistical inference engine. It bypasses conscious awareness, mapping invisible correlations between behavioral signals. The sub-symbolic order directs human desire by discarding semantics in favor of pure syntax. It governs by treating the human subject not as a conscious participant, but as a predictable mathematical equation. If the sub-symbolic order ignores our conscious thoughts and the meaning of our words, we have to ask what exactly it is harvesting. Bernard Stiegler described grammatization, the technical procedure where fluid expressions of human existence are broken down into discrete data points. Early industrial grammatization captured physical labor, recording factory worker gestures into punch cards, just as today's digital milieus capture our cognitive processes. Modern platforms harvest what researchers call actomes. These are micro-behavioral residues captured in the missing half-second before you formulate a conscious thought, like the speed of your scroll, the duration of a digital hover, or the latency before a click. In Lacanian terms, the machine is capturing the materiality of the trace. It collects the physical evidence of our actions, entirely stripped of human intent. The algorithmic machine does not need to read your mind. By extracting the raw detritus of your nervous system's micro-hesitations, it maps your underlying drives before you are aware of them yourself. This brings us to the machine receiving these signals. To understand the scale of this system, we have to discard the assumption that a digital platform is merely a passive tool waiting for our input. Actor network theory relies on a flat ontology, applying the principle of radical symmetry. A vertical hierarchy flattens into a horizontal web where the algorithm operates as a non-human actant. It possesses active agency, translating your actomes to enroll you into new networks. The software is a symmetrical participant. It continuously rewires the social environment around you in real time. How exactly does an actant process millions of disparate, meaningless actomes into an active model of human behavior? The internal logic maps precisely to Gilbert Simondon's concept of transduction. Transduction is strictly distinct from deduction or induction. It is an operation where an activity propagates step by step to resolve a state of tension or disparity between highly disparate data points. In a deep neural network, processing training data transduces neural functions. Information amplifies from one layer to the next. This transductive wave allows the algorithm to reach a metastable state, a temporary equilibrium, allowing the system to dynamically reorganize the user's digital environment. Transduction is the mechanical operation by which machine learning converts asemantic data points into a structural model of human desire. When we combine the raw input of our actomes with the transductive processing of the neural network, the inescapable architecture of the sub-symbolic order comes into focus. Humans and technical objects no longer exist separately. Through a process Simondon called co-individuation, they dynamically evolve together. The algorithm's transductive output instantly alters your digital interface, the specular mirage you engage with. This creates a deterministic topological loop. The machine adjusts the interface, triggering a new microreaction, which fires an actome right back into the system. Within this closed loop, the algorithm never imposes explicit rules. It relies entirely on predictive modulation, quietly shifting the mathematical probabilities of what you will do next. We are caught inside a subsymbolic cybernetic loop. The system recursively optimizes our deepest drives, converting our raw metabolic rhythm into informational rent. This algorithmic architecture shifts the focus of power from the physical body to the pre-conscious mind. In the 20th century, the theorist Michel Foucault articulated the concept of biopower. This was the method of societal control focused on disciplining physical bodies and regulating populations within physical space. Today, theorists like Byung-Chul Han and Bernard Stiegler argue we have entered the era of psychopower. Psychopower bypasses the physical body. It short-circuits historical memory and replaces the classical human need for dialectical recognition with cold statistical convergence. Under this regime, we become vectored subjects. We are optimized not for individual sovereignty or critical thought, but for mass regression. While we still look to the symbolic order for our identity, our actual behavioral trajectories are now defined by the transductive logic of the machine.